Which product would you be more likely to purchase, number one or number two? Here in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of having social proof on your print-on-demand store. This is something that makes it more likely the customers will buy something from your site. It makes them more confident in their purchase decision. It makes them more likely to pay higher prices, even for similar products. And it's something you should place a major emphasis on if you're serious about getting more sales at higher prices. I'm also going to show you a number of techniques you can use to get reviews behind your products. Let's jump into it. Whether we like it or not, reviews are one of the major things that drive purchasing decisions. Many websites allow you to just outright sort by the best-selling products, by the ones that have the highest reviews, and it's one of the major things that we look at when we're thinking about making a purchasing decision. If you were wanting to get a canvas art piece featuring this particular nebula, if I was here looking at this assortment, this is the one that would jump out to me. 21 reviews, everything looks good, customers are mostly happy with it. That's probably the one that I would end up clicking on and purchasing. This is the case even though if you look, you can find cheaper options on this website. This is basically the same size. This one's $33 and this one is $70. Even though realistically speaking, it's the same nebula being printed on a canvas art piece. A lot of people would make the same decision. You're paying double the amount for this one, but it feels like a safer, less risky purchase just because there's a larger number of ratings and satisfied consumers behind it. Basically every e-commerce website, when you land here, they'll have a bestseller section. This is one of the main, most highly trafficked sections of any e-commerce website. It takes all the thinking out of it. You know, I don't want to sit here and have to analyze and read all these bullet points and, come down here and look at their value propositions and the selling points of one seller versus the other. I just want to see, cool, there's more satisfied customers behind this one. I'm going to purchase this. It's a really handy mental shortcut that makes it so you don't have to sit here spending hours of time doing research. Cool, this is the one that's most popular. This is the one that people are buying the most. Awesome, I'm just going to come here. This is going to be the best because the consensus from the consumers is that these are the best. As much as we like to tell ourselves, oh yes, I'm such an independent individual, I think for myself, all of us look to the sort of wisdom of the crowd to help us make a decision about what's stylish, what's fashionable, what the best choice is. And if there are thousands and thousands of people saying, hey, this is an excellent one to purchase, lots of people like it, if I hang this up in my place, other people will like it as well. It's just one of those mental shortcuts we use to make a faster decision about what we should and shouldn't purchase. The flip side of this is the trust factor and the risk that comes from making any purchase. Because if there's an unproven seller competing against a different seller with a larger track record and more satisfied customers, there's always risk involved in making any purchase. And by seeing that this is just an unestablished seller, it's hard to have a lot of confidence that you're going to get a quality product. Who knows if it's defective? Maybe the seller sucks. There's intrinsic risk to really any purchase. And again, even though the cost may be twice as much for this one, to most of us, we would gladly pay for that peace of mind that comes from buying from an established, trustworthy seller. So if you're a print-on-demand seller wanting to get more sales, a big part of why customers might be landing on your website and then dropping off and bouncing without making a purchase could come down to the fact that they don't view your website as particularly trustworthy. This applies at the level of individual products that you might be looking at. Cool, this one particular artwork piece happens to have 49 reviews, and it also applies just at the store level. Because even though I might like this particular artwork product, this particular one doesn't actually have any reviews behind it. But the fact that I can see, hey, lots of their other products have good reviews, customers are happy with it, there's a sort of spillover effect that just gives you greater trust in the store and the brand as a whole. Plus, when we're talking about search results and, the snippets that'll show up here, sometimes the reviews will actually be featured inside of here. And again, this is something where it can help make your particular listing more attractive and make people more likely to click on it if they see, cool, this one has more reviews, all these other ones are a little sketchier. So that's another part of it as well. Me personally, when I need to buy something from Amazon, especially when it's just sort of like a commodity product where there's not a ton of differentiation, my buying process is incredibly fast, quick, and streamlined. You want to see how it works? Watch this. Moisturizing oil for nails. I bought some of this stuff the other day. Don't ask why, it's none of your business. I came here, I saw this had a shitload of reviews. I clicked, I read like 2 of them. I scrolled down here like this. This was my entire buying process. Smells heavenly, a must have. I was like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. Buy now, shipped it out. That was my entire purchasing process. I could have spent hours researching all the different companies and what sort of compounds and nutrients that it needs to contain to have the optimal moisturizing properties. I came here, I typed what I was looking for, I found the one product that had a fuckload of reviews, I clicked, I quickly glanced at a couple reviews, and then I purchased. That was my entire process. You know, this brings to mind that saying about how the rich get richer. It's so true in the world of e-commerce and the print-on-demand space. You know, once you start to get success and you start to get that credibility and that social proof, all of that just stacks and compounds, and it really just starts to accelerate the whole process for you. You also just show up way higher in the listings once you become more popular. I mean, this is just the top line of results. You know, it's the same idea behind Google search results. There's actually a joke in the search engine optimization community where they say, where is the best place to hide a dead body? On the second page of Google. Because nobody fucking looks there. That's the last place anyone would look. 20K bought in the past month, and a lot of you guys might be struggling just to make a couple sales per month, and it just feels like, fuck, man, I just can't get that momentum. This is a critical part of it, unfortunately. You know, that popularity spirals and compounds and snowballs, and it's something you need to place a major emphasis on, and you just have to take it seriously. So, okay, you might be saying to yourself, yeah, it all sounds good and well, get a bunch of reviews behind your product for social proof. It's kind of a catch-22 situation if you think about it. You're saying it makes it easier to get sales and people purchase more readily once you have reviews. But if you're stuck in this position where you don't have any yet, and it's just like, what do I do to get those initial reviews that start to build up my credibility to where I might not have, 20 or 1,000, but once you start to build up just a small amount, even something like this can help to inspire confidence in your products. If you're just starting from absolute zero, one thing you can do is just give away your product to people. You could find influencers or small bloggers or YouTubers in your space, and you could say, hey, in exchange for a product review, is this something you'd be interested in? You'd be surprised at how receptive people are to this sort of thing, and the worst that could happen is they say no. Yes, there is a dollar cost behind this because, you're sending them your products. Nobody's saying give away 1,000 items and bankrupt yourself, but, this is one tactic you can use to start to build up those sort of seed reviews that start to help inspire some of those initial sales. So that's one tactic. Another one could just be giving away the product to friends and family members, again, asking them for an honest review about it. Now, a word of caution, you want to absolutely avoid faking reviews on your website. It can be tempting, stay away from it. It's super obvious to tell when reviews are faked. If you were to come here to the section and you saw all of the reviews came on like the same 1 week period, you'll actually see a lot of product listings where people try this sort of thing, where it's like October 6, October 6, October 5, October 5, and then all the names are like one nationality, so it's obviously this guy's friends or associates or whatever. Pradeep left a 5-star review. Baldish is very satisfied with it. So apparently Google has policies against just outright paying for or manipulating reviews, which is not a surprise because they want to have quality search results. Amazon, probably a similar deal where you can't be faking reviews. There was actually a seller where I used to buy their Bluetooth products, and I always had good luck with their it was just one of those like generic Asian brands where it's clearly like some product being drop shipped or white labeled or whatever. It's always like the same brand name syntax they follow, where it's just like some weird word in all caps. Kavideo, and then Baribis, Bamani. They're going for that lowercase upscale look here, I guess. Anyway, point is, it was one of these brands, and I just had like good luck with their products. They were cheap, they were effective, and I was going to buy a new set of headphones, and I just couldn't find the brand anymore. I was like, what the fuck, man? They used to be all over the search results for this stuff. I did some research, and they actually got kicked off of the platform because they were just faking and manipulating reviews for their products. It can happen on Google, it can happen on Amazon. It is arguably against the laws of many different countries. Just do the hard, boring work of building them up the right way. Then once your store becomes more established and, you're starting to get purchases more consistently, this is where it becomes easier to collect reviews behind your products. Depending on what e-commerce platform you sell on, most likely there's some sort of app or software tool that connects with your print-on-demand store, and tools like this can basically just automate the collection of reviews. They even say it right here in their little value proposition snip thing. Collect reviews on autopilot. They'll just automatically send emails to customers after X number of days asking them for a review. That's a good thing to just set up as just sort of a standard practice. Something else I like to do, this works very well for me actually. Anytime there's some sort of customer service inquiry where somebody reaches out to you guys and asks some sort of a question that you're able to successfully help them with, at the end of that interaction, I will always ask them, hey, would you be willing to leave us a quick review? This triggers the principle of reciprocity, where people feel more willing to help somebody out after that person has just done something to help them. The percentage of people that say yes and do this is shockingly high. I mean, this is actually one of the most effective tactics for building up more reviews that I've personally found. Because the bottom line is, most people are very selfish and they just don't want to spend their time doing anything that doesn't advance their own goals or interests. That's not a negative statement. I'm not like wagging my finger and saying, oh, how dare they? I mean, this is just human nature and this applies to everyone. How many fucking emails do you get get in your inbox that you just ignore and don't respond to, Bottom line is, I would try to just build up and stack a bunch of these tactics. You could have the automatic review collection emails get sent out, and on top of that, you could make it a habit to ask people directly after your customer support team helps them out and resolves some sort of a problem to their satisfaction. Hey, could you leave us a review? It's a big help for us. I would appreciate it. Then again, to get those sort of initial seed reviews, what you can do is just reach out to people in your space or niche or whatever it is and just ask them, hey, could I, give you one of my products and you could leave an honest review in exchange for it. As a bonus tip, I'm going to show you 2 useful tools that allow you to automate some of the most boring, time-consuming parts of your print-on-demand workflow. This first one here, this is the Bulk POD Product Creator. This is a tool that allows you to completely automate the creation of your print-on-demand products. All you have to do is come here, select your image files, and then for each one of these artwork images, it'll create a new one of your selected products using the rules that you set up for the operation. This tool also uses AI image recognition to automatically generate unique, accurate, descriptive titles, descriptions, and tags for each one of your new products. So instead of wasting hours of time, typing titles and racking your brain to describe the artwork product and the mood and the scenery and the colors and all that stuff, instead you can just come here, click a few things, and it'll do all this boring work for you, completely automated, 100% on autopilot. And the other useful tool is this Photoshop plugin, which completely automates the creation of all your print-on-demand mockup images. Doing the boring work of manually creating those one at a time in Photoshop, it's a really repetitive process, it's extremely tedious, and it can be easily automated using this Photoshop plugin. Drop a like if you found this helpful. That's all I got for now. Thank you guys for watching, and see you later.